Jurisdiction. Jurisdiction over the subject matter. It is conferred by law and not by agreement of parties nor by silence. Jurisdiction over the parties. Jurisdiction over the plaintiff or petitioner. It is acquired by the filing of the complaint or petition. Jurisdiction over the defendant or respondent. It is acquired by voluntary appearance, submission of defendant or respondent to the court, coercive powers of court, usually through service of summons. It may be acquired if parties signed a compromise agreement made as basis of the judgment rendered by the court. Jurisdiction over the issues it is conferred by pleading, agreement in a pre-trial order or stipulation, implied consent as by failure to object to evidence not covered by the pleadings. Original jurisdiction, it is the power of the court to take judicial cognizance of a case instituted for judicial action for the first time. Appellate jurisdiction, authority of a higher rank court to re-examine the final order or judgment of a lower court which tried the case now elevated for judicial review. General jurisdiction, it is the power of the court to hear all cases except those expressly withheld. Special jurisdiction, court can only hear particular cases and subject to limitations provided by the governing law. Exclusive jurisdiction, cases shall be filed exclusively in that court. Concurrent jurisdiction shared by two or more courts, like petitions for certiorari, prohibition, mandamus, and habeas corpus shared by the ST, CA, and RTC. Supreme Court, original jurisdiction over cases affecting ambassadors, other public ministers, and consuls, and over petitions for certiorari, prohibition, mandamus, quo warranto, and habeas corpus, unless otherwise provided by this Constitution or by law. Any decision, order, or ruling of each commission, COMELEC, and COA may be brought on certiorari by the aggrieved party within 30 days from receipt of a copy thereof. Cases from CST, now appealable to CA, under Section 9, Paragraph 3 of BP 129 as amended by RA 7902. Presidential Electoral Tribunal, sitting en banc, shall be the sole judge of all contests relating to the re- relating to the election, returns, and qualifications of the President or Vice President and may promulgate its rules for the purpose. Martial law cases, review, in an appropriate proceeding filed by any citizen, the sufficiency of the factual basis of the proclamation of martial law, or the suspension of the privilege of the writ of or the extension thereof, and must promulgate its decision thereon within 30 days from its filing. Appellate jurisdiction to review, revise, reverse, modify, or appear on appeal or certiorari as the law or the rules of court may provide, final judgments and orders of lower courts in all cases in which the constitutionality or validity of any treaty, international or executive agreement, law, presidential, decree, proclamation order, instruction, ordinance, or regulation is in question. All cases involving the legality of any tax, imposed, assessment, or toll, or any penalty imposed in relation thereto. All cases in which the jurisdiction of any lower court is in issue. All criminal cases in which the penalty imposed is reclusion perpetua or higher, and all cases in which only an error or question of law is involved. Administrative power, administrative supervision over all courts and the personnel thereof. Assign temporarily judges of lower courts to other stations as public interest may require. Such temporary assignments shall not exceed the 6 months without the consent of the judge concerned, provided under Section 5, Paragraph 3, Article 8 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution. Order a change of venue or place of trial to avoid a miscarriage of justice under Section 5, Paragraph 4, Article 8 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution. Promulgate rules concerning the protection, enforcement of constitutional rights, pleading, practice, and procedure in all courts, the administration to the practice of law, the integrated bar, and legal assistance to the underprivileged as provided for Section 5, Paragraph 5, Article 8 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution, appoint all officials and employees of the judiciary in accordance with the Civil Service Law under Section 5, Paragraph 6, Article 8 of the 1987 Philippine Constitution. The Court of Appeals, original jurisdiction to issue writs of mandamus, prohibition, certiorari, habeas corpus, and quo warranto, and auxiliary writs or processes, whether or not in aid of its appellate jurisdiction. Exclusive original jurisdiction over actions of annulment of judgments of artistes, exclusive appellate jurisdiction over all final judgment, resolutions, orders, or awards of artistes, and quasi-judicial agencies, instrumentalities, boards or commission, including the SEC, the SSC, the ECC, and the CST, except those falling within the appellate jurisdiction of the SC. Orders of adoption may be appealed before the Court of Appeals within 10 days from receipt of the order by the interested party or from the denial of the motion for reconsideration. Otherwise, the same shall be final and executory. Jurisdiction of Sandiganbayan exercises exclusive original jurisdiction in all cases involving violations of number RA number 3019, RA number 1379, and Chapter 2, Section 2, Title 7, Book 2 of the RPC, where one or more of the accused are officials occupying the following positions in the government, whether in a permanent, acting, or interim capacity at the time of the commission of the offense. Officials of the executive branch occupying the positions of a regional director and higher, otherwise classified as grade 27 and higher, specifically including provincial governors, vice governors, members of the Sangguniang Panlalawigan, and provincial treasurers, assessors, engineers, and other provincial department heads, city mayors, vice mayors, members of the Sangguniang Panlunsod, city treasurers, assessors, engineers, and other city department heads, officials of the diplomatic service occupying the position of consul and higher, Philippine Army and Air Force colonels, naval captains, and all officers of higher rank. Officers of the PNP while occupying the position of provincial director and those holding the rank of senior superintendent and higher, city and provincial prosecutors and their assistants, and officials and prosecutors in the office of the ombudsman and special prosecutor, presidents, directors, or trustees or managers of GOCCs, state universities, or educational institutions or foundations. The above mentioned A to G are regardless of salary grade. Members of Congress and official thereof classified as grade 27 and higher. Members of the judiciary, chairmen and members of the constitutional commissions, other national and local officials classified as grade 27 and higher. Other offenses or felonies, whether simple or complex, with other crimes committed by the public officials and employees mentioned in subsection A of the section in relation to their office. Civil and criminal cases filed pursuant to and in connection with EO numbers 1, 2, 14, and 14-8 issued in 1986. The RTC shall have the exclusive jurisdiction where the information does not allege any damage to the government or any bribery, or alleges damages to the government or bribery arising from the same or closely related transaction or acts in an amount not exceeding 1 million. Exclusive appellate jurisdiction over final judgments, resolutions, or orders of RTCs, whether in the exercise of their own original jurisdiction or of their appellate jurisdiction. Exclusive original jurisdiction over petitions for the issuance of the writs of mandamus, prohibition, certiorari, habeas corpus, injunctions, and other ancillary writs and processes in aid of its appellate jurisdiction, and over petitions of similar nature, including quo warranto, arising or that may arise in cases filed or which may be filed under EO numbers 1, 2, 14, and 14-A issued in 1986. In case of private individuals are charged as co-principals accomplices, or accessories with the public officers or employees, including those employed in GOCCs, they shall be tried jointly with said public officers and employees in the proper court, which shall exercise exclusive jurisdiction over them. Offenses committed in relation to the office, as a rule, the relation has to be such that, in the legal sense, the office cannot exist without the office. The office must be a constituent element of the crime as defined by the statute. However, even if the position is not an essential ingredient of the offense charged, if the information offers the intimate connection between the office and the offense, this would bring the offense within the definition of an offense committed in relation to the public office. This requires that the information contain the specific factual averments that would indicate the close intimacy between the discharge of official duties and the commission of the offense charge. It is not enough that the information contains the phrase in relation to their official duties. Court of Tax Appeals, RA 1125, as amended by RA 9282 and RA 9503, and Bank, the court and bank shall exercise exclusive appellate jurisdiction to review by appeal the following: decisions or resolutions on motions for reconsideration or new trial of the court in divisions in the exercise of its exclusive appellate jurisdiction over cases arising from administrative agencies, BIR, BOC, DOF, DTI, and DA, local tax cases decided by the RTCs in the exercise of their original jurisdiction, tax collection cases decided by the RTCs in the exercise of their original jurisdiction involving final and executory assessments for taxes, fees, charges, and penalties, where the principal amount of taxes and penalties claimed is less than 1 million pesos. Decisions, resolutions, or orders of the RTCs in local tax cases decided or resolved by them in the exercise of their appellate jurisdiction. Decisions, resolutions, or orders of the RTCs in tax collection cases decided or resolved by them in the exercise of their appellate jurisdiction. Decisions, resolutions, or orders on motions for reconsideration or new trial of the court in division in the exercise of its exclusive original jurisdiction over tax collection cases. Decision of the Central Board of Assessment Appeals in the exercise of its appellate jurisdiction over cases involving the assessment and taxation of real property originally decided by the Provincial or City Board of Assessment Appeals. Decisions, resolutions, or orders on motions for reconsideration or new trial of the court in division in the exercise of its exclusive original jurisdiction over cases involving criminal offenses arising from violation of the NIRC or the TCC and other laws administered by the BIR or BOC. Decisions, resolutions, or orders on motions for reconsideration or new trial of the court in division in the exercise of its exclusive appellate jurisdiction over criminal offenses mentioned in the preceding subparagraph, and decision, resolutions, or orders of the RTCs in the exercise of their appellate jurisdiction over criminal offenses mentioned in subparagraph F. In division, the court in divisions shall exercise exclusive original or appellate jurisdiction to review by appeal the following: decisions of the CIR in cases involving disputed assessments, refunds of internal revenue taxes, fees or other charges, penalties in relation thereto, or other matters arising under the NIRC or other laws administered by the BIR. Inaction by the CIR in cases involving disputed assessments, refunds of internal revenue taxes, fees or other charges, penalties in relation thereto, or other matters arising under the NIRC or other laws administered by the BIR, where the NIRC or other applicable law provides a specific period for action, provided that in cases of disputed assessments, the inaction of the CIR with the 180-day period under Section 228 of the NIRC shall be deemed a denial for purposes of allowing the taxpayer to appeal his case to the court and does not necessarily constitute a formal decision of the CIR on the tax case. Provided further that should the taxpayer opt to await The final decision of the CIR on the disputed assessments beyond the 180-day period above mentioned, the taxpayer may appeal such final decision to the court under Section 3, Paragraph A, Rule 8 of these rules, and provided still further that in the case of claims for refund of taxes erroneously or illegally collected, the taxpayer must file a petition for review with the court prior to the expiration of the 2-year period under Section 229 of the NIRC. Decisions, resolutions, or orders of the RTCs in local tax cases decided or resolved by them in the exercise of their original jurisdiction. Decisions of the Commissioner of Customs in cases involving liability for customs duties, fees or other money charges, seizure, detention, or release of property affected, fines, forfeitures, or other penalties in relation thereto, or other matters arising under the customs law or other laws administered by the BOC. Decisions of the Secretary of Finance on customs cases elevated to him automatically for review from decisions of the Commissioner of Customs adverse to the government under Section 2315 of the Tariff and Customs Code, and decisions of the Secretary of Trade and Industry in the case of non-agricultural product, commodity, or article, and the Secretary of Agriculture in the case of agricultural product, commodity, or article involving dumping and countervailing duties under Section 301 and 302 respectively of the Tariff and Customs Code, and safeguard measures under RA number 880, where either party may appeal the decision to impose or not to impose said duties. Exclusive jurisdiction over cases involving criminal offenses, to wit, original jurisdiction over all criminal offenses arising from the violations of the NIRC or TCC and other laws administered by the BIR or the BOC, where the principal amount of taxes and fees, exclusive of charges and penalties, claimed is 1 million pesos or more, and appellate jurisdiction over appeals from the judgments, resolutions, or orders of the RTCs in their original jurisdiction in criminal offenses arising from violations of the NIRC or the TCC and other laws administered by the BIR and the BOC, where the principal amount of taxes and fees, exclusive of charges and penalties, claimed is less than 1 million pesos or where there is no specified amount claimed. Exclusive jurisdiction over tax collection cases. 2. Original jurisdiction in tax collection cases involving final and executory assessments for taxes, fees, charges, and penalties, where the principal amount of taxes and fees, exclusive of charges and penalties, claimed is 1 million pesos or more, and appellate jurisdiction over appeals from the judgment, resolutions, or orders of the RTCs in tax collection cases originally decided by them within their respective territorial jurisdiction.